Now, the slide uses the phrase, translation is positioned as an imperialist act. We should understand this carefully. This is best treated as a modern critical interpretation, rather than as Dryden's own technical term. Why might a critic describe translation in this way? Because Dryden is bringing great works from Greek, Roman, Italian, and other traditions into English. He is effectively making these literary traditions part of English literary culture. In that sense, we can metaphorically describe his translation project as an act of cultural appropriation or literary expansion. But for an examination, be careful. Do not write, Dryden himself called translation an imperialist act. That would be misleading. Instead, understand the underlying idea. Dryden's translations expand English literature by bringing the achievements of earlier European and classical cultures into English. This is particularly significant because Dryden is helping English literature establish itself as a mature literary tradition capable of standing alongside the classical traditions. Now let us connect this with his larger career. Earlier, Dryden had already shown us that he was a comparative critic. In an essay of dramatic poesy, he compared the ancients and moderns, the French and English, and different forms of dramatic writing. He was constantly asking, what makes literature effective? In the essay on fables, this comparative method becomes even broader. Now he is comparing Homer with Virgil, Chaucer with Ovid, ancient literature with modern literature, and original writing with translation. So we can see a continuous development in Dryden's criticism. He does not simply memorize rules. He examines actual writers and asks what they do successfully. That connects directly with the idea we saw earlier. Dryden discovers rules from practice rather than simply imposing rules beforehand. This is why Dryden is so important as a critic. He combines theory with practical literary judgment. He reads actual poets. He compares them. He identifies their strengths and weaknesses. And then he develops principles from those observations. Now, before we finish this slide, let us create a very simple memory structure. Think of 3 levels. First, comparison. Dryden compares major writers. Chaucer versus Ovid. Homer versus Virgil. Second, translation. Dryden asks how literature should move from one language into another. His preferred method is not rigid word-for-word translation. He favors paraphrase, allowing freedom while preserving the original sense and spirit. Third, English literary confidence. Dryden demonstrates that English writers and the English language are capable of absorbing and transforming the achievements of classical and European literature. So the entire slide can be remembered through one formula: compare, translate, recreate. Compare great writers, translate their works intelligently, recreate their literary effect in English. And that is the central achievement of Dryden's essay on fables. For examination purposes, keep these points firmly in your mind. Essay on fables, associated with fables, ancient and modern, 1700. Major concern, translation and comparative literary judgment. Chaucer is praised in comparison with Ovid, especially for characterization. Homer and Virgil are compared in terms of different kinds of poetic excellence. Dryden distinguishes metaphrase, paraphrase, and imitation. And most importantly, Dryden's ideal translation is neither mechanical nor completely uncontrolled. It aims to preserve the original's meaning and spirit while allowing natural, effective expression in English. That is why this essay is so important. It shows Dryden at his maturest as a critic, not merely making rules, but reading, comparing, judging, translating, and explaining how great literature can live again in a new language.